Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for tonight's City Council meeting. For the record, it's August 15th, 2024, and the time is 6:30. I will begin with the roll call. So, Council, when I call your name, please say here or present. Mayor Maxton.
I'm here.
Councilmember Stroop.
Here.
Roden. Oh, he's not present. Olvera.
Here.
Kerner.
Here.
Parker.
Here.
And Menchow.
Present.
With 6 members of council present, a quorum is declared.
Thank you, Christina. And would everybody please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everybody for attending tonight's meeting. As a reminder, this meeting is live broadcast, and we'd like to thank all of those that are joining us by the live broadcast tonight. If you do get an opportunity to speak as part of the meeting, we ask that all please use the microphone that is up here at the podium. That is the only way that people that are online listening to the broadcast will be able to hear the comments. If you speak from your seat, they don't get to hear what you're saying. And if you do get the opportunity to speak, we ask that you introduce yourself, and if you're a Fair Oaks Ranch resident or not, or if you're with an organization, what organization you're with. We'll move on to citizens to be heard, and we did not have anybody sign up to be a part of citizens to be heard. Is there anybody that didn't get an opportunity to sign up that would like to speak? Okay. And then with that, we'll move on to our presentations. We do have 2 presentations tonight. And if I could ask our Building and Codes Department to join me at the podium. How are y'all doing tonight?
Good, thank you, sir.
So the 1st of September is Building and Code Staff Appreciation Day. And so tonight we're recognizing our city's building and code staff and encouraging our residents to do the same. Now our team, Building and Codes Department at the City of Fair Oaks Ranch is made up of 3 individuals, Scott Davis, right here beside me, Rachel Brown, and then Hunter Hickman, who is not here with us tonight. Couldn't strong arm him into. So in recognition, we want to acknowledge their accomplishments and the challenges that they face every day in truly a thankless job. And we also want to recognize them to make all of our residents and even the city staff and city council aware of what they do on a day-to-day basis. They do check on new construction, remodels, and repairs to ensure that it meets codes, and this is not an easy job. Their success ensures quality and the safety of our residents throughout our city. So tonight, we publicly thank you for all that you do every day for the city council, for our city staff, and for our residents. And Hunter, who couldn't make it here tonight, I had a special recognition for him because just recently he passed his plumbing certification, which is a big deal in itself, but he also made a 93 on the test, which is...
And did it in half the time that he was allotted. I don't know of anybody that's done that.
So kudos to Hunter, and sorry that he couldn't make it. But in honor of Scott, Hunter, and Rachel, the City of Fair Oaks Ranch wants to present this proclamation. And whereas Building and Code Staff Appreciation Day is celebrated every year on September 1st, and whereas Building and Code staff are essential, not only in the industries in which they work, but to society, as well as by ensuring that building and infrastructure are safe for everyday use by our residents, businesses, and patrons. And whereas detailed review of building plans and the inspection process involved to achieve compliance help institute a path forward that keeps the project running efficiently, which reduces cost and ensures a safe structure is built in a timely manner. And whereas building and code staff review, inspect and enforce safe building practices in a variety of construction and critical infrastructure components, including structural, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, fire systems, accessibility, and energy as they apply to housing, commercial buildings, and public works infrastructure. And whereas Building and Code Staff Appreciation Day is intended to remind the public about the critical role of our community's code officials, our largely unknown guardians of public safety. Now and therefore, I, Gregory C. Maxton, of the City of Fair Oaks Ranch, do hereby designate September 1st, 2024 as Building and Code Staff Appreciation Day. And I urge all citizens to express their appreciation to our city's building and code staff as they work diligently within our community every day. And honestly, we just want to say thank you to y'all for what you do for us every day. Thank you both. And we have an official. Do we get a picture? And now y'all are going to stay for the entire meeting? Sure. And with that, then I'll turn it over to Joanna, who is going to recognize our new interim chief of police.
All right. Thank you very much, Mayor, City Council. I am Joanna Merrill, the Director of Human Resources and Communications, and I am pleased to announce the newest member to join our team, which is our interim chief, Todd Smith. So, Todd, if you will come join me up here, right here next to the podium. So, Chief Smith joined our small but mighty team on August the 6th, so just little over a week ago now, and he comes to us with an outstanding 25-year career with the Austin Police Department, where he rose from the ranks of patrol officer all the way up to the assistant chief of police. His experience spans every critical area, including patrol, community outreach, internal affairs, and even includes leading the Austin PD SWAT team at one point as well. So in the short time that he has been on the ranch with us, Chief Smith has already shown to be a firm believer in servant leadership, which is a philosophy that he has begun practicing and breathing life into as a part of his new role here at the City of Fair Oaks Ranch. And we are definitely all excited to work alongside him, and that we have no doubt that he will use his expertise and leadership skills to provide and continue providing exemplary service to our team, but also to the community as well. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Todd Smith.
Hey.
Wow, I've never been considered a man of few words, but tonight's the night. I can't tell you how humble and thankful I am for the warm, small-town welcome and feel that I've received here from each and every person I've come across, not just resident, not just employee, but anybody in the area is just so warm and welcoming, and it's just an honor for me to be able to come. And I felt like a new purpose recently just was dropped into my lap, as if the heavens threw it by mistake. And that purpose is to come here and serve your community. And I can't tell you how excited I am. It's been so rewarding to be able to meet each and every member of our department and to see where their hearts are. And our goal is to find the right seat on the bus and move forward and create momentum to where we never look back. And we're going to do that with service first, with unrelenting optimism and positivity, and I can't wait to be a part of it. So I love hearing about the story of Fair Oaks Ranch, and I appreciate you letting me be a part of that story. So I look forward to partnering with each and every one of you, and in that way we can ensure that we keep you, your family, and our community safe together. So thank you very much.
So I'm going to steal him with a picture with the team that showed up to support him tonight, too.
By the way, many of them are on their day off. Coming from a big agency, people don't show up on their day off. So this is the team
chairs, I'm sure. Thank y'all very much.
Well, that completes our presentations for tonight. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We have 7 items on the consent agenda tonight. First, the approval of the August 1st, 2024 regular city council meeting minutes. Second, approval of the second reading of an ordinance authorizing the execution of a franchise agreement with Frontier Texas Ventures LLC for solid waste collection and disposal services. Third, approval of the second reading of an ordinance amending the City of Fair Oaks Ranch Code of Ordinances, Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1.06, Emergency Management, Division 2, Emergency Management Program. 4, approval of the second reading of an ordinance amending the ordinance 2015-12, removing no vehicle stopping, standing, or parking on the 28,000 block of Chartwell Lane during school zone hours. Next, possible confirmation of the emergency approval and first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 12, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 12.01, General Provisions, Section 12.01.0031, prima facie speed limits of the City of Fair Oaks Ranch Code of Ordinances by reducing the speed limit on Noble Lark Drive and Calcala Drive to 20 miles per hour. And 6, possible confirmation of the emergency approval and first reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 12, Traffic and Vehicles, Article 12.01, General Provisions, Section 12.01.002, Ordinances Saved from Repeal of the City of Fair Oaks Ranch Code of Ordinances by adding stop signs at the intersection of Noble Lark Drive and Calcala. And 7, approval of Councilmember Parker's absence from the August 1st, 2024 regular City Council meeting. Is there any council member that would like to remove an item from consent to consideration? With that, could I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Leslie, and second from Emily. Motion on the table, all in favor of approval of the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Thank you all. Next, well, we're going to move on to the consideration and discussion items. And with approval of council, we have 4 items on consideration and discussion. But what I would like to do is do the first 2 items and then move our workshop item up to that point in between 14 and 15, because we really need it before we do item 15. And then we'll move on and do items 15 and 16 of consideration. Any concerns? No. Okay. With that, then we'll move on to our first consideration item, which is the consideration and the possible action approving a resolution adopting and implementing the City of Fair Oaks Ranch Emergency Operation Plan. And I'll kick this one off. We just adopted during the consent an updated ordinance for emergency management of the city. And in this ordinance, it does direct the city to the development of a comprehensive emergency operations plan. Now, the current agenda tonight that we're going through right now is to approve a resolution which would adopt an emergency operations plan for the City of Fair Oaks Ranch. Now, from January to July 2024, a committee met on multiple occasions to develop this proposed plan. And that committee consisted of Councilmember Kerner and Councilmember Parker. We also had in the committee the police chief, the ESD fire chief representative, our director of public works, our water supervisor, our wastewater supervisor, our maintenance supervisor, our IT manager, our multimedia communications officer, our city manager, and myself. And I would like to thank all of those that were part of the committee that attended with it to help write the plan that is being presented tonight. I believe that emergency operations plan that is presented to the council for approval tonight provides the needed framework for a community-wide response for emergencies and a coordinated support related to certain pre-planned events. In preparing and responding to an emergency condition, the purpose is to prevent or reduce the impact of the situation on the residents of the City of Fair Oaks Ranch. And this includes minimizing injury or loss of life, minimizing property damage, minimizing environmental or economic impacts, providing timely and accurate information to residents, meeting the immediate essential needs of residents, and restoring essential utilities and functions. The plan that is being presented meets these requirements while addressing the roles and responsibilities of all the departments, community agencies, government organizations, volunteers, and community partners that may be involved. And if approved tonight, we will continue to improve the plan that is being presented through our lessons learned that we experience, hopefully not, but from actual disasters or emergency experiences, and from ongoing planning efforts, and from training and exercise activities. And so I present the emergency operations plan that we're going to go through tonight. Any questions from council? Any questions from anyone that's here tonight? Then with that, then, could I get a motion to approve the resolution adopting and implementing the City of Fair Oaks Ranch Emergency Operations Plan?
I so move.
From Laura, and a second
Scott.
from Scott. Say we're the authors, that's appropriate. Any other discussion from council?
I just want to acknowledge the amount of time that the mayor put into working on this was extraordinary. And I know it was really important to you, as it was for both of us, but I do want to acknowledge that this was clearly a passion of yours, and I appreciate all of the extra effort that you put in, and you made the process go smoothly so we can get to the point we're at right now. So I just want to acknowledge your work.
Thank you, Laura, I appreciate that.
Okay.
And Scott. Any other discussion? Then with the motion on the table, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is approved. Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to our second consideration item tonight, which is the consideration and possible action approving a resolution for the transition of health benefits providers for medical, dental, vision, life, and disability insurance and FSA and COBRA administration. Joanna, you're going to kick this one off?
I am. Thank you, Mayor. I'd reintroduce myself, but I think I was just up here, so I think I'm good. So tonight, I will be walking you through a high-level overview of the analysis and recommendations from our recent request for proposals for the City of Fair Oaks Ranch's health benefits. Thank you. So as part of this process, we had multiple healthcare provider vendors respond to the RFP process, and each of these providers was evaluated based on key factors, including but not limited to the cost of the plans, the coverages that were provided, and the additional benefits that they could offer to our employees. Ultimately, the city's benefit broker, Hub International, and staff were able to narrow down the long list of provider proposals to the most competitive providers, Cigna and Renaissance, and then Blue Cross Blue Shield, as you see listed in this graph on the screen. And we compared those to our incumbent provider's renewal proposal from United Healthcare for the purposes of this presentation. So the key takeaway that you're going to see from the slide that's on the screen right now is that United Healthcare, who is our current healthcare provider, is proposing a significant jump of over 40% increase to the medical rates alone, and if we were to renew our current plan with them. While Blue Cross and Blue Shield proposed a very slight increase of about 2% with some definite changes to the plan design. And then Cigna came in and proposed a 0% increase to the medical costs. And so while the cost effectiveness of Cigna's proposal was very clear, the substantial benefit of also being able to maintain stability in the plan design and the benefit coverages that were being offered with Cigna's guarantee to match our current plan structure and benefits is definitely going to also ensure that the least amount of disruption occurs to the employees and how they utilize these plan benefits overall. Then we also explored the remaining plan types for dental, vision, and then life and disability insurance as well. It's also important to note here that the overall increases for those plans was pretty high, again, under United Healthcare, while Cigna stood out as being able to consistently show very hefty decreases in the overall costs, while again still maintaining the exact same benefits across these plan designs, and in some instances providing lower rates, lower out-of-pocket costs, and then enhanced maximum allowances in other areas of the plan designs as well. So for staff, it was clear that Cigna kind of did stand out amongst its competitors by providing several additional incentives, with the most notable being the 15% rate cap guarantee that they're going to be providing the city at the time of renewal negotiations. Whereas Hub International, who is our benefit broker, has historically negotiated rates at much lower costs than that, and that will help us to ensure that we don't experience a spike of the same magnitude that we're seeing from United Healthcare in this current renewal proposal year. Also, as part of this analysis, staff and Hub International also considered several other factors when considering the providers' proposals, including pharmacy benefits, out-of-pocket costs, the transition of provider networks, to ensure that there was minimal disruption to physician access for employees. And then we also reviewed wellness solutions and programs as part of the review process. You may have also noticed that the consideration item in the resolution included the addition of utilizing a vendor called iSolved Benefit Services for the city's FSA and COBRA administration plans. And that is largely due to the fact that United Healthcare was the only provider that offered those services in-house. And so staff did have to explore other options for the administration of those benefits in preparation for a transition to another provider. So in conclusion, and based on the analysis conducted, the current recommendations are to transition medical, dental, and vision plans to Cigna, along with life and disability insurances over to Renaissance. The decision for this recommendation is driven in large part by the potential for significant cost savings, along with the enhancement of employee benefits and the overall alignment with our strategic action plan priorities. Multiple proposals and plan designs were thoroughly reviewed by staff and the city's benefit broker. And the recommendation to transition employee health benefits to Cigna, Renaissance, and iSolved, again, will not only provide better benefits for our employees, but will also contribute to the city's fiscal health by saving a significant amount of money compared to the current renewal cost of staying with United Healthcare. If we had seen a 0% rate increase from United Healthcare kind of across the board and decided to still go ahead and switch to Cigna today, the city would still experience an immediate cost savings of about $25,000. However, when we factor in the renewal rate data that United Healthcare is proposing, we know that if we make no change at all and stay with United Healthcare, the city will definitely experience a minimum of a 40% increase to the benefits that we currently offer. And so the switch to Cigna will ultimately result in a true savings of approximately $328,000 compared to if we choose to stay with United Healthcare for the upcoming year. So that is the conclusion of my presentation. At this time, if council has any questions, I'm more than happy to oblige.
Questions? Good rundown. Thanks, Joanna.
You're
Any
welcome.
questions from anyone here tonight? Then with that, could I get a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute agreements for the implementation of medical, dental, vision, basic life, and voluntary life insurance, and short-term disability, long-term disability, flexible spending account, and COBRA administration?
So moved.
From Emily,
Second.
from Ruben. Any other discussion from council?
Perfect. Thank you.
With the motion on the table, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Thank you, Joanna. And with that, then we'll move on to the workshop item tonight to cover the fiscal 2024-2025 budget workshop. Summer.
Yes, good evening. I'm Summer Fleming, Director of Finance. So all the material for this item and the next item has been provided as handouts since we did not have all the information available at the time the agenda packet posted. We did receive the documents on Tuesday, so I'm glad we were able to turn around the information so quickly for tonight's meeting. As I mentioned at the last meeting, we are on the home stretch in the 3-month-long budget process, which is exciting. And throughout all the workshops, we've taken guidance from council and incorporated those changes into the proposed budget for each subsequent workshop. So the proposed budget before you has had an extensive amount of consideration by both staff and city council. But tonight is the 5th and final budget workshop before the city manager officially files the proposed budget with the city secretary on August 19. As part of the budget process, we've incorporated the issuance of debt to advance the approved capital improvement plans. So at the September 5th meeting, council will review bids for the sale of obligations to fund the roadway and utility CIPs. Then we'll hold a public hearing on September 16 for the proposed budget and have final budget and tax rate adoption on September 19th. We'll start with the general fund and the calculated tax rates for fiscal year 24-25. The total taxable value for tax year 2024 increased almost $188 million from 2023, which is almost 8%. This does include new properties and also accounts for value lost to the disabled person's tax freeze. The calculated no new revenue rate is 0.2853, and that is the rate we have in the proposed budget, indicated by the red circle around that column. The calculated voter approval rate is 0.3454, which takes into account unused increments or foregone revenue for the last 3 years in which the city did not adopt a tax rate up to that voter approval rate. The proposed tax rate is significantly lower than the current tax rate of 0.3005, even with the issuance of the new debt for the roadway CIP. Maintaining the total tax rate at the no new revenue rate does come at the expense of the operating budget. You'll notice the M&O levy is decreasing 2.6% from the 2023 or this current year's tax levy, while the INS levy is increasing 60%. So at this proposed rate, the average tax bill would be $1,949, which is a $68 increase over the current year's average tax bill. Now, that increase is solely attributable to the voter-approved GO bond to fund the roadway CIP. The tax bill for the M&O rate or the operating budget is decreasing from the current year. So are there any questions on the calculated tax rate before I go further?
From anybody else here tonight? Okay.
All right, so changes made in the budget from the last workshop include a decrease in property tax revenue to meet that no new revenue tax rate reflected in the budget. And then we have an increase in transfers from the project fund for the project manager allocation. Personnel costs decreased for the change in the cost of living adjustment and removal of the communications manager, the assistant police chief, and the drainage lead positions. There are increases for the addition of 2 movable and 2 permanent radar signs, the flock safety system, and additional funds for that compensation study. So with these changes and staying at that no new revenue tax rate, the proposed budget has an operating surplus of $784,000. And after capital outlay and transfers for strategic projects and the capital replacement program, the budget shows an overall deficit of $30,493, which would come from reserves. So while the budget reflects that small decrease in total fund balance, there is a shift between fund balance categories. We have small changes in restricted funds, a decrease in the tree mitigation fund for budgeted expenditures, and an addition to the operating reserve from the unallocated fund balance. Now, as a recap, the INS rate is increasing for the approved roadway CIP and is structured to provide a more stable tax rate throughout the term of the debt while allowing the city to stay at that no new revenue rate in fiscal year 24-25. These projects are budgeted in the Capital Projects Fund since they're funded by the General Obligation Bond. The drainage CIP includes 3 projects for fiscal year 24-25, and these are budgeted in the Strategic Projects Fund through a transfer from the general fund. There is no debt issuance for drainage in fiscal year 24-25. And as with each budget workshop, you've been provided the full budget detail for each fund and every general ledger account. So are there any questions on the general fund before we move on to the utility fund?
Everyone good? Any questions from anyone here tonight?
Okay. In the utility fund, changes from the last workshop include the decrease in personnel costs and small increases for postage and software. For fiscal year 24-25, there's no proposed change in utility rates, which are based on usage and support the operating budget, but we'll see in a later slide the proposed changes in utility fees. So in this proposed budget, oh, now my clicker's not working. Just go to the next slide.
Budget for a new clicker.
Or if you can just advance it.
Which slide?
The next one.
This one was the next one. Oh, it's not going up on the screen, okay.
I'll continue if you want to follow along on your. Okay, that one. So in this proposed budget, the utility has a net operating income of more than $362,000. And that, we can go to the next one. That is made up of operating income in the water division, offset with a small operating loss in wastewater. The new wastewater rates implemented this year are coming very close to covering operations. And when combined with the non-operating activities on the next slide, the wastewater utility does have a positive net income. We can go to the next one. So looking at the non-operating activities on the next slide, non-operating revenues include impact fees, which are restricted in use, capital fees for cash-funded capital projects, debt service fees for the utility's annual debt service payment, and interest earnings. And then we have decreases for depreciation and interest costs. So if you're following along, we're on slide 16 from your handouts. In total, the utility proposed budget will add over $1.7 million to net position. That increase is in reserves for capital assets, capital projects, and the debt service reserve. Now, prior to starting the budget process, the council-appointed bond advisory committee reviewed projects in the approved CIPs, and council approved a notice of intent to issue certificates of obligation for utility improvements. So recapping the water CIP, we have planned the continuation of projects already in progress. Those are budgeted to be funded by the issuance of debt, and the start of 2 new projects, the upgraded electrical at plant number 3 and the SAWS emergency interconnect, which those costs for fiscal year 24-25 are proposed to be funded by that capital reserve fee. Oop. Oh no, sorry. The wastewater CIP budget includes funding for the start of a new project, the Kojak Circle manhole and sewer upgrade. This is proposed to be funded by the issuance of debt. And the wastewater treatment plant phase 1 expansion will be ongoing in fiscal year 24-25 with the remaining budget that will roll over from this current fiscal year. So those proposed utility fees include no change in TCEQ fees for either water or wastewater, a small increase in the surface water fee, which is derived from GBRA's costs directly to the city, and an increase in both water and wastewater debt service fees to fund the CIP projects just reviewed, and then decreases to the capital reserve fees for both utilities. So in total, water fees are proposed to increase $12.49 per month, or about $150 annually, and that is to fund the roughly $13 million in capital improvements to the water utility. Wastewater fees are proposed to increase $10.37 per month, or about $125 annually, to fund the $6 million in capital improvements for the wastewater utility. Now, the debt fees have been structured to save an interest cost over the term of the debt and to allow for a consistent and stable structure for utility users, fee structure for the utility users. Are there any questions on the utility fund before I wrap up with the next steps?
Everybody good? Any questions from anyone here tonight? All right.
Okay. So again, after tonight, the city manager will officially file this proposed budget with the city secretary on August 19th. Then on August 29th, the official notices of sale for the GO bond and certificates of obligation will be published for bidders. That will include information about the uses of the debt, the proposed debt payment schedules, and the city's financial history and credit rating. And at the September 5th meeting, council will review those bids and consider an ordinance authorizing the sale of those obligations. Then again, we'll hold the public hearing on September 16th for the budget, and final adoption is scheduled for September 19th. And that's
That's
what
it?
I have for the budget workshop, yes.
All right. Any questions to close out the workshop? Okay. Anybody else? And with that, we'll continue on with our consideration items that we had tonight. Next is the consideration and the possible action approving a resolution setting the maximum proposed ad valorem tax rate for fiscal year 2024-2025, setting the fiscal year 2024-25 budget and tax rate public hearing, and other matters in connection therewith. And
It's me again, yes. So this item also was not included in the packet, so it's part of the handouts. And yes, this resolution for your consideration, it will accept the calculated rates provided on that 2024 tax rate calculation worksheet, and it'll set the maximum tax rate that council will consider for fiscal year 24-25 and officially set the date for that public hearing. So I'll start with a brief overview of the tax roll data and present the calculated rates with the staff recommendation for that maximum tax rate. Now, the city offers 2 exemptions in addition to those that are state mandated. Those include a $50,000 exemption for over 65 homesteads and $50,000 exemption for disabled homesteads. For tax year 2024, the disabled count decreased while the over 65 increased by 101 homesteads for a net increase in exempted value of $4.4 million. Now, historically, the number of over 65 homesteads has increased each year. And when taking into account the state mandated exemptions, total city exemptions increased $41.4 million over the 2023 tax roll. I won't go over this slide too much again since we discussed it during the budget workshop. Again, the no new revenue calculated rate is 0.2853, which is what is in our proposed budget, and the calculated voter approval rate is 0.3454. Now, those calculated tax rates are based on certified values as of certification, but certified values are subject to change during the year resulting from appraisal review board action. And both the tax rate calculation worksheets and certified value reports will be posted on the Finance Department's Truth in Taxation website first thing in the morning. So this resolution for your consideration, it sets the maximum tax rate council will consider at that no new revenue rate of 0.2853 as recommended by the city manager, and it sets the date for the public hearing to be held on September 16th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m.
any questions? Straightforward. Any questions from anyone here tonight? And with that, could I get a motion to approve the resolution which setting the maximum proposed ad valorem tax rate for fiscal year 2024-25, setting the fiscal year 2024-25 budget and tax rate public hearing, and other matters in connection therewith? Scott? And Chesley. Any other discussion from council? This one is a required record vote, so I'm going to turn this one back over to Christina to conduct the vote.
Good evening, council. When I call your name, please say yes or no regarding this motion. Mayor Maxton,
Yes.
Councilmember Stroop,
Yes.
Councilmember Olvera,
Yes.
Councilmember Kerner,
Yes.
Councilmember Parker,
Yes.
Councilmember Menchow.
Yes.
Okay. There are 6 in the affirmative.
So the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Summer. And with that, we'll move on to the last consideration item that we have on the agenda tonight, which is the consideration and possible action accepting applications for open positions on boards, committees, and commissions, and to set dates for interviews.
Good evening, Christina. We're here tonight to determine the path forward in the important task of appointing members to our boards, committees, and commissions. Over the past few months, the city staff has reviewed the process with the council. We've communicated with our incumbents, whose terms will expire September 30th, and using the city website and social media, we have solicited for new applicants. We have 20 positions available across our various boards, committees, and commissions. Of these, 10 positions can potentially be filled by incumbents who are eligible for reappointment. This means that if these incumbents are reappointed, we will have 10 positions left to fill. We've received applications from 10 new candidates, all of whom have shown interest in contributing to our city's governance and development. Notably, some of these applicants have expressed interest in multiple positions. This is a testament to their enthusiasm and willingness to serve in various capacities, but it also presents us with a challenge of aligning their skills and preference with our needs. This slide summarizes this data and assumes the reappointment of the incumbents, and that is based on the far right column. You can see that we have 2 open positions for the CIAC, 7 open positions for the TSAC, 5 of them being regular, 2 alternates, and 1 open position for the ZBOA. In reviewing the next steps, City Council accepts the applications. And the question tonight is, how do you want to proceed? At your desk, you'll find a page that breaks down the applicants and the committees to which they applied. As you can see, we've received applications from 10 incumbents interested in continuing to serve. The question is, do you want to reappoint without interviews, or would you like to interview them? Historically, City Council has handled this task differently. One year, the incumbents were interviewed, and in others, they were not. The next question is regarding the new applicants. Do you want to appoint without interviews or to interview them? Historically, City Council has always opted to interview. Tentative interview times and dates have been scheduled for 4 p.m. on Thursday, September 5th, just prior to the regular City Council meeting, and 4 on Monday, September 16th, just prior to a special City Council meeting. I provided the council chamber's calendar at your seat, and it was also included in the agenda packet on page 162. The proposed motions are available on this slide, and I'm available if you have any questions.
On the MDD, 1 position must be filled by a council member?
We have a member already, Councilmember Roden.
And I'm on there too.
You're on
but-
there as
So
well.
that, we don't need another one, like, no one's dropping off.
Correct.
Okay.
And Councilmember Kerner
Kerner.
has opted to
Okay,
apply.
got it, that's why I was confused, okay, thank you.
I requested to be reappointed. You can interview me if you want.
Any other questions? And my thoughts on this, I think it was 3 years ago, we did interview the incumbents. Now with 10 opting to reapply and 10 open positions, and we got 10 people to fill them, new applicants. My thoughts are is that we just accept the applications of all the incumbents and only interview the new applicants.
Agree.
And I think helpful in the new applicants, I know a lot of them, we have 7 positions for the Transportation Safety Advisory Committee. And I think of that, there might have been 8 or 9 people that applied for it, but also indicated that they would also be interested in the CIAC or the ZBOA. So this would provide us that opportunity to determine which individuals are best for which positions. Okay. And do we need the date for the motion also, or?
That would be ideal.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the reason why we have a motion to accept the applications is because the city secretary confirms that the applicants are eligible to serve, because we do have some requirements for eligibility. So have you confirmed that all the applicants are eligible to serve so we can accept their applications?
I did not actively search to confirm. The only requirement is that they be, that they be citizens. And we had eliminated, they had to be,
They have to be U.S. citizens and eligible to register to vote. I believe that was one of the requirements to serve.
I'm sorry, I'm having challenges with my hearing aids.
No, no problem.
I have to take them off to hear you and then take them out to speak. So what was your question? I'm sorry.
I was wondering if we had a requirement that they be U.S. citizens and/or eligible to vote.
Not all of the boards have that.
Some of them do, though, right?
Some of them do.
And so I just wanted to make sure we looked to make sure they met that
Actually, I did
basic
not.
requirement.
I apologize, I did not.
Okay. So can we just amend the motion to say, accept a conditional
I can
on
confirm that.
on confirmation? Because there was a time where we had someone who was ineligible for a board because they were serving on a different board, and the law specifically said they couldn't apply for a different board, so we didn't accept their application.
Yeah, typically that's the P and Z and the ZBOA.
Right.
They couldn't sit on both boards.
Right. So I just wanted to make sure we just do that, double check,
I will,
just to
I
make
will
sure. Okay.
definitely do that tomorrow.
Okay. And the dates for the interviews, I believe, are September 5th, starting at 4 p.m. and running, it depends on how many people are available on that day, but right now it's scheduled till 5:30 or 6, depending on how many interviews we get in. And then we do have a follow-on council meeting that day. And then also on the 16th of September, same process, we'll come in at 4 for the special meeting to conduct interviews. We'll finish that and adjourn it by 6 p.m. And then we have another special meeting at 6:30 p.m. related to the budget that night. I just want to make sure that all the council members they've looked at their calendars and had an opportunity to make sure that these are good dates that you could attend.
Good with me.
Okay?
I'm flying back on the 16th, just to let you know it's good with me. And I'm supposed to be in her in the morning, but I cannot guarantee air flight
Airlines.
schedules, okay? I'm just saying.
Is it
But I
American?
will do my very best.
Is it American?
Southwest.
Southwest,
Ever.
Any other questions from council? Any questions from anybody here tonight? Then could I get a motion to reappoint incumbents to their respective boards, committee, or commissions based on conditions that they are eligible, and set the following dates for possible interviews, September 15th and 16th, for new applicants?
5th and 16th, right?
September 5th, yes.
Did I say 15th? September 5th and 16th.
So move.
second.
Emily and Ruben. Any other discussion from council? With the motion on the table, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is approved. And did we get everything that you needed? Part of this, Chris? Did we-
That was the incumbents you mentioned, and are we going to have a motion to do the new applicants?
Motion for the new applicant.
Well, I included them as possible interviews on the September 5th and the 16th for new applicants.
Okay,
Conditionally, I think also you said.
No, you conditionally for the incumbents, not for the new applicants.
The motion that I put out was to reappoint incumbents to their respective boards, committees, or commissions based on conditions that they are eligible, and to set the following dates for possible interviews, September 5th and 16th, for new applicants.
Yeah, but we didn't accept the applications of the new, the first motion at the top
For the new applicant.
for the new applicants.
So I move to accept the applications of the new applicants.
I move to amend to state, I move to accept boards and commissions applicants pending eligibility.
I'll second that.
Done.
Okay. Not sure just what happened, but,
We took care of it for you.
so we had a motion to accept the boards, committees, and commissions applications. That was by Emily. Was it seconded?
Chesley,
And then Laura?
amended by me.
And what was the amendment?
Just added a statement saying pending eligibility.
Okay. All right. So now we have an amendment to the motion on the table, made by Laura, seconded by Ruben, including the words pending eligibility. All in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the amendment is approved. We now have an amended motion, which includes, I move to accept the boards, committees, commissions, and applications pending their review and eligibility. And made by Emily and Chesley. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion is approved.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Now do we have everything you need?
Yes, sir.
All right. And that concludes really all the business that we had tonight on the agenda. We'll move on to announcements. Does any council member have any announcements that they'd like to present tonight?
I have an announcement. The Bear County and Military Veteran Services organization is holding a benefits workshop for local veterans at the Leon Springs barbecue, which is Rudy's Barbecue, right there in Leon Springs. And it's going to be on August 23rd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And they're going to cover basics of VA claims, how you can be assisted for the veteran county service officer can assist you with any of your benefits. So I will be asking staff to share this on social media so it could be available to our residents if they want to go down and look for from free veteran support and benefits workshop.
Thank you, Laura. Anybody else? Any other announcements?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
How are they
I would
doing?
like to announce that Bernie Little League is up 3-0 in the top of 4. We have a runner at first. There's no outs. And the count is 2-1. And we just got hit. No,
Okay.
he caught it. Oh.
Okay.
Anyways, there's 1 out. We're still up 3-0.
So,
Everyone
More
should tune
innings.
in on E ESPN.
Anybody else? Got any announcements from,
Just a reminder that the intersection at Noble Ark and Dietz Elkhorn will reopen tomorrow night, approximately 5 p.m.
yep. Yes, sir.
How's the bulk trash pickup going?
Carol?
My apologies. I meant to recap with Scott today, and I forgot. The bulk brush pickup, Sector 1 is completed, and we are in Sector 2 right now. There have been a little bit of glitches here and there where a street was missed. They have brought new staff to pick up, so they're not used to some of the streets. But we on the staff are on top of it. At the end of the day, when the drivers come in and tell us this is the route that we went, we do a pass-through ourselves to ensure. So we're anticipating everything to go through as planned with 3 sectors. If there are any issues or challenges that need to be addressed, we have one last week, a 4th week, where we will fix those challenges. We'll ask Republic to take care of them. So thank you for asking. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Carol. Are there any items that any council member would like added to a future agenda? All right, now? Okay. And Scott, I'm not aware of any requirements to go into executive session tonight.
No, sir.
And with that, Christina, anything we've missed or anything we need to capture as part of the meeting tonight?
No, sir.
All right, Scott, anything from you?
Nothing here?
All right, I have the time now is 7:27 and we are adjourned.